So I'm starting with a series of NBA 2K videos because I like NBA 2K. And I just decided that I wanted to start recording it because I thought I was pretty good at rebuilding teams. So I thought, why not start recording videos of it? And I'm starting off with the New York Knicks because I thought it was a good starting point. Pretty bad team, needs a lot of work. So I'm going to be doing 1 year rebuilds, which is just going to be rebuilding the team and trying to win a championship in 1 year, which is obviously harder with these worse teams, but that's what I'm going to go for. So like I said, we're starting with the New York Knicks. This is our roster. It needs a lot of work. The best player is 83 overall Mitchell Robinson, and I kind of want to keep him on the team. So I think what we want to do is I just want to go get a good point guard. And where we're going to get that point guard, I don't know. I know Kemba is available sometimes, Kemba Walker. And he still is. So we can try to trade for him. He's making $32 million. Okay. So let's throw in Julius Randle. Taj Gibson. Actually, no, it needs to be more than that. Julius Randle and Bobby Portis. And then you give me Semi Ojeleye. Okay. And then can I just throw in a bunch of first round picks? That was a really valuable first. Alright. I wasn't expecting that. But anyway, we got Kemba. So now we have Kemba and Mitchell Robinson. We have a few young pieces here. We have RJ Barrett. Alonzo Trier is kind of a young piece. He's 23. Frank Ntilikina, Kevin Knox, Dennis Smith Jr. So this team has a lot of young talent to work with. So that's good. Next, I want a good wing. And wings are actually something I kind of struggle with getting in this game, because a lot of the star wings are not available. I can try to go for Brandon Ingram because I know he's usually not untouchable. So we can try him. He's making $7 million. So usually you can pull this off just by... I've done this before where I just put in kind of a bummy player. And I just put in a bunch of firsts and I end up getting him. So we're going to try that. I'm not super worried about giving up a lot of firsts. Okay, so there's that. Taj Gibson and 5 first round picks for Brandon Ingram. And now I'm going to do something I like to call micro trading. And this basically is just a way of getting more first round picks. And I basically just do it by continuously flipping low overall players to just slowly increase the value and basically just to harvest as many first round picks as possible. And because the CPU is not very intelligent when it comes to trading, it's actually not that difficult to do. So for example, let's see, I can trade Wayne Ellington for Mike Muscala, second round pick, that doesn't matter. Let's just do that deal. And then here's another trick actually, is a lot of centers in this game, pretty much every center actually, when you change into a power forward, their overall goes up quite a bit. And it only raises the value a little bit, but it's just a little bit of a cheat code per se. But you can do that. You can flip for Mike Muscala, and then we're gonna flip him and get Pat Bev, for example. You can do Jakob Poeltl. I'm gonna go. Yeah, let's go with Jakob Poeltl. So Jakob Poeltl. And actually I don't need to do that trick with him. You can just flip him straight up. And see Jetty Osman, Pat Bev, and right there's a first round pick. Ed Davis in a first round pick, Quinn Cook. I think I'm gonna go for, ideally I wanna go for a player, like a flippable player and a first round pick so we can keep the chain going. So I'm going to do this. It's a first round pick and Ed Davis. So there's one first round pick. Change Ed Davis to a power forward. Flip him. and we can get Rodney Magruder in a first round pick. And then basically you just keep doing this until you have enough first round picks. And you can do this with surprisingly bad players like Reggie Bullock, Wayne Ellington. You don't really expect them to be worth anything, but you know, then you trade them, and if you just kind of slowly, you know, keep trading up in value, you can eventually get first round picks out of it. And the trick with like changing centers to power forwards, you actually don't have to do that. It just speeds it up a little bit because it, you know, spikes up the value, but you actually don't have to do that. You can just continuously flip. It will slow down the process a little bit. So it just kind of speeds up the process. So I like to do that as a time saver. There's an S Canner, Jakob Pertl. I don't want to give up a first round pick because I'm trying to increase the amount I have. So let's go for Alex Len. Similar overall. I can just change to a power forward. He goes to an 80. Make his backup position a center. I actually don't really like doing micro trading that much because it's I don't know, I think it's just kind of tedious to keep flipping these players, but it's effective when you're trying to do a rebuild. Cristiano Felicio in a first round pick, Pat Bev, Matthew Dellavedova, Kyle Anderson in the first round pick, trade 7, that's good. What else? Darius Miller is not really worth anything. Damari Carroll, Wayne Ellington. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with trade 7, which was Kyle Anderson, the first round pick. Yeah. Okay, and then we're gonna flip Kyle Anderson. He's making $9 million, so this might be a little harder to get a first round pick out of. But I think we can do it. Pretty confident in my ability. Let's try this. Can we do this without the first round pick? We can. That's another trick I like to do with trading, is that if you see something in the trade finder that you like, but you're like, oh, I wish I could do this trade without that piece, you can just go in and like remove that piece and then offer to them, and they might give you a counter offer which uses a different piece. Yeah, 2K it's not very 2K My League isn't very stable, and there's a lot of little bugs and abusable features, and none of them are really very none of them are really that cheaty or abusive, but it's just those little things can add up in these rebuilds. And some of them I actually learned from watching other... What was the trade I was going to do? Oh yeah, this one. Some of them I actually learned from watching other 2K YouTubers, but some of them I just kind of knew on my own. Anyway, so if we look back on the trades we've been doing, we originally started with Wayne Ellington. We traded Wayne Ellington for Mike Muscala, Muscala for Pertl, Pertl for Ed Davis. That gave us our first round pick. Ed Davis for Rodney Magruder, that's 2. Then we traded Bullock for Lopez, Lopez for Len, Len for Anderson, the first round pick, Anderson for another first round pick. So we got 4 first round picks out of Wayne Ellington and Reggie Bullock. So like, if you just continuously, like I said, it's pretty abusable. You can get several first round picks out of players that are worth absolutely nothing. It's just a little tedious, but it's definitely doable. So anyway, there are our first round picks. We now have 5, and we have a point guard, a wing, a center. Okay, so now we just need to round it out. A good shooting guard, like Jaylen Brown, would be cool. I don't know if we can get Jaylen Brown, but I'll try it. Frank Ntilikina or RJ Barrett, actually, because he's worth more. RJ Barrett, first round pick. Second. 2 firsts and a second. I know I'm being a little cheap with these trades, but that's kind of ideally how I like to go about it. Is I like to be as cheap as possible and then just slowly work my way up to pay as little as possible. I'm not super worried about giving up first round picks, so I'll give 3. What else do I need to give here? And I'll give Dennis Smith Jr. and you give me Javonte Green or Romeo, he's worth a lot for a 70 overall. How about Vincent Poirier? Or Brad Wanamaker? Any of those? No? How about Frank Ntilikina? How about that? And then you give me Javonte Green. No, that doesn't work. Vincent Poirier. Okay, that trade's a little rough. It's fine, we can move it along. What other shooting guards are out there? Victor Oladipo. He faced a big overall drop because of his injury and because he hasn't really been playing that amazingly since he got back. Drew Holiday is there, which is actually a good teammate alongside Kemba, because Kemba's weakness is his defense, and that's what Drew Holiday does best. Devin Booker is available. Kemba and Devin Booker, that's a pretty bad defensive backcourt, but as long as you, like, if you have good scoring, it's not always super important in 2K simulation. As long as you have a lot of great scoring. Defense is important, but my point is if you have enough volume scorers, then it doesn't really matter too much. Buddy Hield, I'm gonna go for Drew Holiday because I want the defense. So let's go for Drew Holiday. I don't think he's gonna be hard to trade for. The money is a problem more than anything. Go for Peyton, and then you give me back Kenrick Williams. Okay, and then a first, 2 firsts. Okay, so there's that. Maurice Harkless, Elfrid Payton, and 2 first-round picks for Drew Holiday. So the roster's shaping up. Kemba Walker, Drew Holiday, Brandon Ingram, Mitchell Robinson. It's looking pretty good so far. I could use a good power forward, and I ideally want it to be a stretch, so that way Mitchell Robinson has some, or just our team in general has some spacing. John Collins isn't that easy to trade for anymore. He used to be very easy to trade for back in like 2K19, but he's not anymore. And spacing also isn't super important in simulation, because I've through the time that I've been doing my league on 2K, I've learned that there's a few specific things that are very important in 2K simulation, and the 2 biggest ones are rebounding and defense. Like if your team has, like at power forward and center, if you have like 2 really good like glass locks, like 2 really good defenders and rim protectors, even if neither of them can shoot, the team will still be pretty effective. I've kind of learned that from a lot of simulation. Defense too, because I've won championships with teams that didn't seem very good on paper in terms of like overall, but there was just so much defense that we just won games anyway. Anyway, so I'm trying to trade for Porzingis here because he's a good stretch. I know spacing isn't necessary, but it's still ideal. I don't really have the money to match this, like at all. I have like nobody making money outside of Kemba Walker. I'll try to make it work though. Excuse me. Justin Jackson, 13 million. Yeah, I really don't have the money at all, actually. That's really weird. Okay, let's how much cap space do I have? No, how do I have such little cap space? Is Kemba's contract really going to be this big of an issue? Drew Holiday's contract. Drew Holiday is great defensively, but an 83 overall making almost 30 million is really tough. That's why Jaylen Brown was ideal, because he's also a great defender, but he's a lot cheaper. I guess I can take another stab at this. It didn't work last time. Let me just try to give... How about Kevin Knox? I don't think I offered Kevin Knox last time. And then you give me Javonte Green, and then I'll just give you all 3 of my firsts. And then a second? No. How about Frank Ntilikina? And then you give me Vincent Poirier. That doesn't work. How much is Vincent Poirier making? 2 million. Okay, no, that's not gonna work. I can't trade for Jaylen Brown, which is fine. There are other shooting guards out there, I think. I'm just looking for a good shooting guard that isn't crazy expensive. Devin Booker is making 24 million, I think. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, now that's a good one. I think he's still in his rookie contract, so that would work. Klay Thompson would be another great one because while that's not a money-saving move, he's better than Jrue Holiday, like much better. So he would actually be worth the money. So let's just try this trade. It would actually make it worthwhile giving them that much money. Let's do Frank Ntilikina and Dennis Smith Jr. And you give me Michael Mulder. Wow, that's surprising. Okay, let's try Shai. Let's try Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It's making about 3 million. Let me just try just basic player and some picks. Lonzo Trier, 2 first-round picks, 3 first-round picks, a second, and Damian Dotson? No. Okay. How about Frank Ntilikina, Kevin Knox? Okay, there we go. There's that trade. Alonzo Trier, Kevin Knox, and 3 first-round picks for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And I still have Jrue Holiday, actually. So that's great. Ooh, that actually... So here's a couple options. We can keep Jrue Holiday, just to start Kemba Walker, Jrue Holiday, and then have Shai off the bench. Or we can trade Jrue Holiday for a power forward and then start Shai at the 2. I guess it depends. I don't know. I think Jrue Holiday's contract has a problem because I just don't have any cap space to build the rest of the roster. Is anyone I can sign here? Not really. I guess Jamal Crawford. We'll sign Jamal Crawford to a 1 year. 4 million. Okay, so there's Jamal Crawford. Just to add some extra pieces to our team. I need to do something with RJ Barrett, so let's use Trade Finder. RJ Barrett, Jrue, and I am out of first round picks. Andre Drummond is someone that's actually pretty easy to trade for. DeMar and Derek White. That's really interesting. Because then we would start Shai, we would have Derek White off the bench, and then, or actually I have a small forward in Brandon Ingram, so we start DeMar at the 2 and Brandon Ingram at the 3, and then we have Derek White off the bench. Wait, never mind. Okay, we start DeMar DeRozan at the 2 and Brandon Ingram at the 3. And then we have Shai as our backup shooting guard off the bench behind DeMar DeRozan. That could work. Trade 4 is something. It's a little risky, but let's do it. DeMar DeRozan and Derek White. Actually, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to change Derek White back to a point guard, and he's going to be our backup point guard. Because I do want to keep him on the team. He has good defense. Nope, not point guard / point guard. Excuse me. So this wants to start Brandon Ingram at the 4. That is not happening. Brandon Ingram is way too flimsy to play the 4. Yeah, how we're going to do it is we're going to play DeMar DeRozan at the 2. And then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to come off the bench. Just like that. I don't have a power forward, but right now we're looking at Kemba Walker, DeMar DeRozan, Brandon Ingram, Mitch at the 5, Shai off the bench along with Derek White. Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that. So now I need a power forward. John Collins is someone I can try to trade for. I don't think it's going to work. Actually, yeah, I don't even have first round picks. So let's do a little more micro flipping. Micro trading. Semi Ojeleye. You'd be surprised, like, I know the players I'm trading for here, like Semi Ojeleye, Cristiano Felicio, I know they all have, like, no value, but you really can make it work. And you don't even need to do this, changing center to power forward. You don't even have to do that. I do it out of choice because it speeds up the process, but it's not even necessary. You can do it without it, and it'll take longer, but it'll still work. It'll still work just fine. Let's trade for Pat Bev. And then Pat Bev for... Yeah, trading for first round picks actually gets increasingly hard as you continuously trade for them. It actually gets more and more difficult because there's only so many first round picks in the league that people are willing to give up, and so eventually you reach a point where it's like you can't really find any more first round picks. How about we keep Pat Bev for now, at least, and let's trade Jamal Crawford. I just signed him, so there's no real loss of value. Duncan Robinson. Yeah, as you can see, like, even players that are worth something, I'm not getting any first round pick offers. Here's one, Wayne Ellington, first round pick. Wayne Ellington is back on the team. On his third team in like 3 years. 2 years, actually. Wayne Ellington for Kyle Anderson. Yep, Wayne Ellington for Kyle Anderson. There's that. Kyle Anderson for... what? Ed Davis, Myers Leonard, Jakob Poeltl, that's with a first round pick though. Al-Farouq Aminu. Can we do this without the first and the second? We can. It's exactly what I'm talking about. Kyle Anderson, Damian Dotson, Andre Roberson, and the reason I'm trading for Andre Roberson is because if you make him a small forward, he goes up 4 from 76 to 80, which makes sense because, you know, he's a big 6'7" wing. You know, he's definitely more fit to play the 3. So we're gonna flip Andre Roberson and grab... Actually, that was a big flip because now there's a lot more value available. So we can go for Bobby Portis, we can go for Nemanja Bjelica, Delon Wright, Jeremy Grant, but you can just see there's no first round picks left, which is concerning, actually. So I guess we're just gonna keep flipping for players right now. So let's trade for... not Bobby Portis. Let's trade for Nemanja Bjelica. That's a first round pick actually, so I don't want to do that. Let's trade for either Jeremy Grant or Delon Wright. Let's trade for Jeremy Grant because I need a power forward. He's our starting power forward for the time being. I don't think that's gonna stay that way, but that's what it is for now. So right now we're looking at Kemba Walker, DeMar DeRozan, Brandon Ingram, Jeremy Grant, Mitchell Robinson. Coming off the bench we have Shea, Derek White, Pat Bev. We have a lot of guards. Literally our entire bench is guards. We have a shooting guard and 4-point guards. That's unfortunate. Let's actually get this coach out of the way now. I always sign Michael Stauffer and Otis Newman. And I fixed the defensive settings here. I know a lot of what I'm doing right now seems to be random and unexplained. I'm trying to explain it the best way I can, but it's because I've been doing rebuilds for a while on my own, like off camera. So what I'm doing right now, this is basically just what I always do on my own. I'm just setting the settings and everything that I prefer. Offensive rebounding, crash offensive glass, some crash others run, play physical defense, protect the paint. These are the best settings. These are the settings I've found work the best. Okay, so what is our team lacking? We need a good power forward. I'm not confident in Jeremy Grant starting on a championship team. And we need a better bench. So we need a power forward and an improvement on the bench. Who's going to be our power forward? That's actually tough. There aren't a lot of tradable power forwards available. Like, a lot of the power forwards in the league aren't, you know, they're untouchable or they're unnecessarily hard to trade for. Brandon Clark is an option. Draymond Green is a route that I would like to go down, but in the times that I have traded for Draymond, the team didn't do that well. And even though he is great defensively, you know, at the end of the day, he is a 79 overall. Danilo Gallinari, I'm not super into that. Rocco is not a power forward. Pascal Siakam is not going to be tradable without first round picks. So let's go for Brandon Clark. Again, I don't have any first round picks, so all that makes this way more difficult Brandon Clark, he's making $2 million. Let's see. I'll give you Dennis Smith Jr. I did get a first round pick, so we can give that. I'll give you Frank Ntilikina, and then you give me Jonte Porter. And what else? I'll give you... I can afford to give Derek White, actually, because I have Pat Bev. I'll give you Derek White and Frank Ntilikina. And then you give me Marco Goodrich. There we go. Okay. Dennis Smith Jr., Derek White, Frank Ntilikina, first round pick. We got Brandon Clark. So now we have a pretty good team. We have Kemba Walker, DeMar DeRozan, Brandon Ingram, Brandon Clark, and Mitchell Robinson. Coming off the bench, we have Shea, Pat Bev, Jeremy Grant. Our bench is already looking great. Like, we just need a backup center, and I think we're good. I'm not going the free agency route. I'm just going to trade for one. Do I have any good players that aren't getting minutes? I don't. The best player I have that's not getting minutes is Rodney Magruder. So I'm actually going to have to do this micro trading, but not for the purpose I usually do. Usually I do it for first round picks. I have to do it for players right now because I don't have a good center to come off the bench. And a backup center is absolutely mandatory. We're trading for Tyson Chandler, and we're going to flip Tyson Chandler for no increase in value, so we're going to do this. I see Joakim Noah, Yogi Ferrell. Wow, trade market's actually rough right now. Like, more rough than it usually is. I'm going to trade for Joakim Noah. Do the exact same thing I just did to Tyson Chandler. Yeah, the trade market's actually pretty rough. It's usually not this difficult. Wait, what did I just see? No, I thought I saw a first round pick. Okay, here's Mike Muscala. Let's trade back for him. I do always have the option of just having Joakim Noah off my bench, bring him back to New York after he had a very unfortunate tenure here. Willie Hernan-Gomez, that's actually a pretty good backup center. Boban is also pretty good. Yeah, let's do Boban. Boban's going to be our backup center. And 9-man rotation. So the final team, Kemba Walker, DeMar DeRozan, Brandon Ingram, Brandon Clark, and Mitchell Robinson. Coming off the bench, we have Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Pat Bev, Jeremy Grant, and Boban. Alright, I'm pretty confident in this team. One thing I've also learned from a lot of simulation is that your point guard and your center are very important. So if having Mitchell Robinson as our starting center isn't good enough, then I'll try to trade him for a better one. But first, let's just see how we do. I already set all the defensive settings I like. System proficiency. Let's see, 7 seconds, triangle, balanced fits. Let's go with that, I think. Or do we go with 7 seconds? Mitchell Robinson's really slow. I don't know if 7 seconds with Mitch is a good idea. 7 seconds is all about forcing tempo by shooting quick and taking shots from the key or three. We do have a lot of shooters. Kemba Walker, Brandon Ingram can both shoot threes. DeMar's a great mid-range shooter. Let's see. You know what? Yeah, let's do that. Let's go with 7 seconds. I'll switch it to balance if it doesn't work out well. But anyway, let's start simming games. I'm pretty confident in this team. Let's just see how it works. I am on PC, by the way, so simulation is pretty quick. Not looking great. Not looking great so far. Let's go to 20 games in the season. Okay, well, maybe I spoke too soon. We started out like 4-6, but now we're 14-6. Pretty good. I'm not super confident looking at that though, because if we just lost like 6 games in the span of 2 weeks, I think that'll happen again at some point. So let's try to trade. I don't know if this is going to be possible. Clint Capella is usually pretty easy to trade for in 2K, but how are we going to match the money? It's like, great, we have Mitch, but like, you still need to make up 12 million. So I think I'd have to give up Pat Bev here, and then I won't have a point guard. Unless they want to give me... No, they don't even have anyone to put in. Oops. Can we just do Mitch and Pat Bev for Clint? Actually, I'd rather have Andre Drummond if that's possible. Andre Drummond. No, that money doesn't work. Let's go for Clint Capella. Clint Capella is on like 14 million a year. Clint Capella, Brandon Goodwin. They'll do it if I give them Jonte Porter, and they'll give us Bruno Fernando. I don't know how that's better. And Clint Capella's having a good season too, apparently. Yeah, he's averaging 13 and 12, 55% from the field. He's shooting abysmal from the free throw line, but that's fine. It's looking pretty good. I just need to trade Bruno Fernando for a backup point guard. So let's do that. Shake Milton is definitely someone. I need to not just throw in the players that are already... the players I have that are getting minutes. TJ McConnell's pretty good. I don't want to give up Boban though. Austin Rivers, Nico Mirotic, Nels Noel, Josh Okogie. Let's go with... Can we do this without these two? Okay, there we go. So there's TJ McConnell. And here's our new team. Kemba Walker, DeMar DeRozan, Brandon Ingram, Brandon Clark, Clint Capella. Same team, just with Clint Capella instead of Mitchell Robinson, and TJ McConnell instead of Patrick Beverly. Coming off the bench, we have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jeremy Grant, TJ McConnell, Boban. Our bench is actually barely getting any minutes. Off our bench, Shai is getting 32 minutes, and then everybody else is getting in the 10 range. Let's shave off a little bit of minutes here and there. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Shai's already getting plenty. Yeah, I think this is pretty good. Yeah, okay, so let's go back to simulation. I think the team did improve. Pat Bev to TJ McConnell. It's questionable whether that's an upgrade or not, but I think Mitch to Clint Capella is a big upgrade. So, that's good. Let's keep simulating games. Like I said, I am on PC, so this should be pretty quick. It's looking good so far. So I'll just let it simulate. I'll come back if we start doing unusually bad, but the trade deadline's coming up, so it might not matter. I'll see you guys at the end of the season. Alright, so we won 60 games. 60 and 22. LeBron wins MVP. Zion Rookie of the Year. Boogie Sixth Man of the Year. I didn't even know he was on the team. Kawhi Defensive Player of the Year. Bam Most Improved. Mike Malone wins Coach of the Year, even though he has a worse record. All NBA teams. No one from our team. Or on the all-defensive team. The only player on our team to make anything is Brandon Clark, making our rookie second team. Anyway, with the 1 seed, we're going against the 8 seed Heat in round 1, who are just same team. We should definitely beat this team. We're sweeping in the first round. Boston. Okay, this is mostly the same team. I forgot we took Kemba, so now they're starting Marcus Smart at the 1. Okay, so let's simulate through that round. We are down 3-1. Ah, man, that sucks. We're actually... I think we're a much better team. Okay, so what can we do about this? I do see some 2K YouTubers that like to shorten the rotation. I personally don't like to do that, because I think shortening the rotation and just making your players more tired isn't always the best decision. It definitely can be in some situations, but I don't think it always is. Should I just go simcast and just see what happens? Maybe I will try lowering it. I usually don't do this, but let's try it. Yeah, let's try it. Let's go to simcast. Let's see. Okay, we're at home. And we are down double digits. Wow, man. That's unfortunate. We lost in the second round. I really had better hopes for this team. I thought we put together a pretty good team. Alright, well, I guess that's the end of the video. Let's see. who wins the championship. It's Dallas, which is not surprising. I was gonna say that's surprising, but they have Luka, who always seems to win in this game. Alright, well, I guess that's the end of the video. It sucks to get off to a start with a second round exit, but I promise things will be better in the future. Peace.